You're tuned into News Across the Galaxy, where they talk all things LA Galaxy with the Nag Boys. Let's start nagging.
Happy Sunday, everyone. What an amazing time to be an LA sports fan. The Galaxy roll over Colorado in the first game of the playoffs. Looks like the Dodgers are about 2 wins away from winning a World Series. The Lakers are undefeated, and that's all that matters here in LA. Welcome to News Across the Galaxy. We'll talk all things LA Galaxy. My name is Eddie. Today, I got Edgar Zuniga with me. What up, Edgar?
Hey, what's up, man? What an interesting weekend for LA sports. Like you said, it's just all the teams are doing great, and today we even got good news regarding Shohei Ohtani. But let's run down through all the LA wins, man, because like you said, the Dodgers won, right? The Lakers won. The Clippers beat Denver, which is interesting. USC won their football game. Um, am I missing somebody else? The LA Kings won. I don't care about the Ducks; they're not from LA. But in total, all the LA teams won, and I thought it was just funny that the Clippers and Galaxy did the double on Colorado. Because, man, if you're a Colorado sports fan right now, you're probably shaking your head. But yep, back to you, Eddie.
And of course, and the ones and twos, super duper producer Chewy. Also, what up, Chewy?
Hey, what up? What up?
Oh, wait, I can do that. I think. Hold on, I got one of those. Where is it? There you go. So, guys, we're still buzzing, right? Still feeling that. What a night, dude! What a night, and we're gonna get into it, of course, but we felt confident, but I can't say I saw that coming.
No, absolutely not. Um, yeah, we were supposed to have like a little night conversation with our good friend Matt Pollard out there in Colorado, but we had technical difficulties. It just wasn't possible. But going into the match, I'm pretty sure him and I would have agreed that Galaxy was obviously favored to win this game. Colorado is going through a really, really rough time. Entering this game, they had lost 4 games in a row, and they had lost 5 of the last 6. I remember, like, I was on the MLS Batter Fans podcast a couple weeks ago, and we were talking about them, and somebody said, they look like a good team to come out of the West, and then it just like fell off a cliff. I mean, it kind of feels like that too. And last night, it just looked terrible for them. They lost Mihailovic before the playoffs started, and that did not help them at all. They thought maybe having Kevin Cabral come back would give them a boost. No, no.
So, like I mentioned, we were back in the playoffs last night. 8 p.m. start. At the digs. Mixed feelings about that. Some people didn't like the late start so much. Some people love the Saturday night games. I love the Saturday night games. I do agree 8 o'clock's a little late, especially considering there's a chance you go to PKs. That could end up being a late one. But you guys, what did you guys do to prepare? How are you guys feeling? So walk me through your day, Edgar. You wake up, you're going to the playoffs. You got that 3-hour drive, whatever it takes you to the digs. You got any rituals, any superstitions?
Well, you gotta understand, I have a 4-year-old, and it's Halloween time, so we did a bunch of Halloweeny things. I asked him last week to design a jack o' lantern. I did a little. I drew a pumpkin for him, and I asked him, "Hey, can you sketch out what you want?" And I'm like thinking, he's a kid; it's probably gonna come up with some crazy thing. And yeah, sure enough, he did. And I looked at this thing for like a good 2 minutes, and I was like, challenge accepted. And so I sat there and I carved the pumpkin, and it looks just like the one he drew. It looks like a little cartoony thing. It looks pretty cool. So then we did that. Then I took him to like my wife and I took him to like a Halloween thing for kids out in the Chino, and then the whole time in my mind I'm like, my brain is just like, yeah, it's playoff time, baby. It's playoff time. And this is me coming off watching the Dodgers pull off 2 big games, right? I mean, pull off that huge game with Freddie Freeman. Let's talk about that real quick because um, something we haven't had a chance to talk to about, Eddie, and maybe you're. I know you're probably one generation behind on this, but I remember very well when Fernando Valenzuela got became a thing. My family moved here from Nicaragua in 1982, so we weren't here for 80 or 81 when Fernando Mania started. But when 82 came around, I remember you cannot go anywhere while here in Fernando, and at one point we my elementary school, Norwood Elementary, which is in near downtown LA, he was scheduled to come and visit us. And so all the kids were got all excited. We learned how to sing Take Me Out to the Ball Game. And they flew him in on a helicopter, which landed on the playground. And some kids were handpicked to meet him. My sister was one of them. And at one point, they didn't want any of the kids to get near him. And so Fernando's like, why? That's not right. So he's like, you can let all the kids come. And so he went around and he's, saying hi to all the kids. And it just tells you what kind of a person he was. Very humble, wonderful human being, huge figure here in LA, not just for the Mexican and Mexican American community, but for also, Latin Americans. Like I said, my family's from Nicaragua, and, we all grew up admiring El Toro Valenzuela. Um, so I don't know about some of you, but when I got the news, I felt like a part of my childhood died, and I was moved to tears because I really admired him, and uh, he was just somebody that I growing up. I remember listening to him and Jaime Herring on the radio, when I did the Spanish broadcast, and got so used to seeing Fernando there as a figure with the LA Dodgers for so long, and then to have him just snatched away like that. I mean, you kind of knew he was not in a good health wise, right? Because he looked kind of emaciated. But then to hear he was gone like that, and then you hear the reasons why. Man, screw cancer. But yeah, LA is suffering. But then, what a way to pick hearts up, heavy hearts off the ground, to have Freddie Freeman hit that amazing home run, reminiscent of the 188 World Series. And then the following day, everybody's all buzzing about that. And then we have the Galaxy game coming up. And kudos to the LA Galaxy for having a moment of silence, not just for Fernando, but for that one player from Philadelphia Union. I'm sorry, I cannot remember his name off the top of my head right now. I just remember that it was a nice moment at the dig to have those moments of silence for both athletes. One who is very dear and near to us, and the other one who's part of the extended MLS family. In either case, it's a loss for families, friends, and their respective clubs. But Eddie, anything you want to say maybe about Fernando? Did you ever get an opportunity to experience Fernando Mania?
I didn't. Yeah, it is like obviously a generational thing. But I have an uncle that is a big baseball fan. Like you said, it's big in Latin America. This is uncle's actually Salvadorian, and he bought into that Fernando Mania too. So yeah, I definitely knew about him because of that reasons. I didn't get to experience it firsthand. I mean, full transparency, I'm not the biggest baseball fan, so I didn't know much about him besides that he was a big deal, especially in the Latin community when it came to baseball and here in LA.
A lot of the Latin American community was kind of turned off on baseball here in the Southland, and I heard something on the radio that really tripped me out. In 1981, baseball was going through at the time its biggest baseball strike. A lot of the players were striking against the owner, so they stopped playing in the middle of the season. Once play resumed, a lot of fans were so turned off by the strike that across the league attendance dropped by 20%, right? But because Fernando Valenzuela was so popular, and he was such an amazing player with the Dodgers, that attendance at Dodger Stadium actually rose by 7% that year. Just to go show you what kind of a figure he was. But we make the transition from the Dodgers to our LA Galaxy, and a lot of people were wondering, like, why is the late start? Well, MLS is competing with the World Series, right? The
Yeah,
World Series started at
yeah,
5:30, I believe. So having a late start kind of makes sense. I know that one of my friends next to me at the stadium was watching the Dodgers game on his little, his phone. And as soon as the Dodger game ended, and actually I had to tell him, "Dude, the game is over, and turn that thing off." And as soon as the game ended, I was like, let's get into Galaxy mode, man. Come on, get into it. And yeah, at that point, that playoff atmosphere at the stadium was so good. It was
Yeah,
so palpable.
yeah,
It was, you knew there was something different in the air.
yeah. It was definitely a buzz in the air. What about you, Chiasso? Any superstition? Any dirty socks that you wear for playoff Galaxy?
Nah, man. Just my regular of going into the game 5 to 10 minutes after it starts. That's about it.
Cool. Just like he's late to the pod. That's what's up. As for myself, I had to get some stuff together, get ready for to get these lovely shirts out right here. Shout out to
Oh
everyone who
yes.
supported us. Yeah, it was cool to see it all around. Shout out to the Nag boys too, who yeah, I made these, but I asked for their input, and it was just a little touch here and there. That's how we ended up with these, and we'll come out with some more special stuff. So Nag boys moving on up on the world.
Yeah, definitely. And I saw, like you said, those shirts. I saw them around the stadium. I was walking around the concourse, and I saw different people wearing them. And I'm pretty sure if the team keeps playing like it is, you might see a whole bunch of other people wearing those. And it doesn't just apply for this season, like we've been saying. In this latter half of the season, LA Galaxy is set up not just for success in this run. They're supposed to be much better next
Yeah,
season. And with Will Kuntz running things, who knows where this team can go in the next couple of years.
yeah, nah,
So
and Kuntz we trust, man.
yeah.
Kuntz is definitely oh man, and we'll talk about it because I think if I'm not mistaken, his first acquisition as a Galaxy or his role in the Galaxy made a huge impact yesterday. So we'll get to that in a minute. But we're there. We get to the stadium. People are already buzzing because the Dodgers had just closed the game, and national anthem hits. We see the line. Well, you know what? I gotta start with the lineup, right? I gotta start with the lineup and how we felt going into this game. I'm gonna go with the lineup real quick, and then Edgar, I'm gonna let you take the floor just because my four-legged child is making a lot of noise, and I gotta see what she needs. So we had John McCarthy in goal, John Nelson at left back, Yoshida and Garces at center backs. Yamane at right back. We had the trio of Cerillo, Delgado, and Puig in the middle. We had Gabriel Peck out right, Joseph Pinto out left, and Dejan Joveljic on top. So first off, how are you feeling going into the game before the lineups, and once you heard the lineups, Edgar, what was going through your head after that?
Before the game started, like I said, um, Colorado is in such bad shape, and they're still hurting because at while we were so concerned about how Galaxy lost their game to Houston, Colorado, man, they gave up 2 goals at the death to lose their game. So they're still going, trying to get over the shock of that and losing Mihailovic. And so going into the game, I felt kind of confident. But then I looked at the lineup and I saw that Johnny Nelson was in there instead of Julian Aude. And that's when I was like, oh, yeah, we got this. We got this. Because Colorado is making such a big deal about having Kevin Cabral back. And our good friend Matt Pollard was, posting on Instagram that this was going to be the Kevin Cabral, like a brawl, right? And I was like, all right, let's get it going. We got somebody, on defense who knows about a brawler thing. We're talking about John the Rock Nelson there, and he was tasked with trying to keep Kevin Cabral under wraps, and my goodness, did he do a masterclass on Kevin Cabral? Cabral, man, he could not sniff the ball, and anytime we looked over, Cabral was either on the ground lying down like a wounded deer, or just like screaming French stuff into nothingness. And um, but yeah, we have so much to say about Johnny Nelson. But yeah, looking at that lineup, I knew right away. I was like, yeah, this is the best lineup that Greg Vanny could put out there, and I feel so confident. Garces, what can you say about him, man? He came in, took that spot, and he's held on to it, and he showed again in this game why. Eddie, how did you feel looking at the lineup?
Eddie was muted. Sorry. I felt good. I felt good about the lineup. I think I was in my own head like uh whether or not I wanted what's it called Royce to start. And when I saw that he didn't, I just felt like, you know what, this team is wounded. We can give Royce the chance to get his legs under him and just go at Colorado and just run him off the field with these younger legs. And I yeah, there wasn't a doubt in my mind, and it's rare, I think, for me, especially with recent years. Even when I feel confident, it makes me nervous. It makes me nervous. Like, we should win this game, and I'm like, right, you know. And in this Colorado game, I felt like we should this game win this game, and that voice in my head didn't question it. I was like, yeah, we're gonna win this game.
That's the thing about this team, right? Um, like I've been saying all along. Like for the last 10 years, we've been kind of like hopeful that they're gonna break whatever funk they're in, and they'll get a couple wins, and you're like, all right, we're on the right track, and then they end up going off the rails and maybe not even making the playoffs, and so you're kind of suffering from a little bit of that trauma, and so you enter a match like this, and you think to yourself, they should win, right? They have to win. I mean, every prognosticator that I've been listening to for the past week, and I listened to many great podcasts this week. I was listening to everybody because I just wanted to get an idea of what everybody was thinking, and across the board, everybody was like, "Yeah, LA should beat Colorado. This should be a sweep." But at the same time, there was something that our buddy Tommy from Scarves and Spikes said. Him and Sydney were sitting down talking about the matchup between Colorado and Galaxy, and at one point, Tommy's like, "Well, LA Galaxy should win, but you never know. Sometimes the Galaxy, they might start galaxying." And I'm like, "What does that mean?" Like, but I understood what he meant, right? Because it's happened before. You're like, yeah, they're supposed to galaxy one way, and then they end up galaxying in the other direction, and you're like, no, we're not supposed to do that. So I was like, and I was thinking to myself, don't put that evil on me, Tommy. Right? But damn, at the half, I was confident, but that second half, oh my god,
We're
how can
jumping
I
ahead
describe it,
here.
Eddie?
What?
Can
How can you describe it?
I mean, because everybody I spoke to after the game was like, I felt everybody said they felt sorry for Colorado, and I was like, it reminded me of watching one of those like nature, shows on the BBC where it shows like an animal getting mauled by a pack of lions, and you feel bad for the animal, and you're like, oh, this is horrible. I don't want to see this anymore. And you flip the channel, but yeah.
One thing before I forget, I mentioned the late start, and I brought this up to Sam the other day, and I don't know if you were there, Edgar. What do they call it? I think they call it like the 4-quarter match or something like that. When we played Houston in the playoff game, do you
Yeah,
remember that?
yeah.
Oh, what time did we leave that? Oh, were you there?
No.
Well, what time did it end? And was it like midnight almost? I think because we went to
Yeah,
overtime.
yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. So
But no, this game. Let me tell you, I got home at midnight.
oh
I
yeah. I mean, the game could end that early, and you still get home at midnight. Edgar, you live. Woo. Shout out to
well,
you, man. You're a you're a committed fan.
well, I love it, baby. But yeah, yeah. Like I said, thank goodness it was Saturday. MLS, please don't do this to us on a Sunday night because that's not fair, right? But yeah, I'm so glad it was a Saturday, and I knew that Sunday morning was going to be a little rough. But I don't know about some of you guys. I know you and I Eddie, talked about it. I woke up with a headache, and I'm
Yeah.
like, man, it's not like I was, living it up at the stadium. I don't know, but
Maybe
anyway.
you just let out all that was it dopamine, and it just that was it.
Yeah, yeah. Maybe it was all the all
You
this.
had none left.
It was all the LA teams winning, man. It was too much for me to take all at once. Like, even the Lakers won. Damn it, boo. Okay, fine.
You undefeated Lakers, Bronny James, undefeated
You mean
Lakers,
Mr. G League, Bronny James?
because he's a real G, bro. That's why G League.
Hey, okay, I'll take that.
Oh man, what a joke, Bronny. But sorry, but
Oh yeah. Something I had to say, dude. The whoever the DJ was, man. DJ Lechero before the game. That was pretty good. I like that. That was a good mix. So I don't know if anybody had mentioned it or anybody noticed. That dude
mm,
was into it. He was trying to get the crowd all pumped up and um,
dude,
bring
head,
that dude back.
headline, dude,
He was
headline. Old man likes hip music. I see it.
what? What are you talking about, man? My generation is one invented the music that you're listening to.
Oh shit, dude. They used to like play on fucking rocks and I don't know. You see,
With
it's a turtle
sticks.
shell as a drum or some shit.
Hey man, that's how it all started. You sample some rocks, some river sounds, and some dogs barking, and he turned it into music.
It was what movie was it? It's not the gods must be crazy. Right? Oh, caveman. What movie is it? Where they like invent music supposedly? You got to know
Oh
this
man,
movie.
I can't remember, dude. But anyway, let's move on to the game, dude. Because it's not like Colorado didn't just come in and lie down, right? They came out there with some sort of intent, but LA Galaxy, and I keep hearing it from other podcasters too. It's like, man, you guys are so strong, and I'm like, well, yeah, we have a pretty strong team, but it's one thing to hear it, it's another thing to look at the statistics, but then you actually see it on the field, and you're like, you know, our guys are pretty damn good, and they came out there on the front foot. And I was telling some people around me, Galaxy not only has to score early, they got to hit first and they got to hit often, because otherwise, all Colorado needs is like a little bit of confidence, and then next thing you know, Kevin Cabral scoring again. And but that wasn't the case. Like I said, Johnny Nelson had the locks on him, and it was nice to see that right off the bat. But thank you, Mo, good buddy, Mo Musa out there in St. Louis land. Thank you very much, man. Appreciate it. But Eddie, what was your? I mean, how was the vibe for you going into that
Uh,
first half?
it's kind of funny though that I forgot to address that part. That how bad are things when you're hyping up Kevin Cabral coming back?
Yeah,
Can you?
yeah. I said something when they posted that picture of Kevin Cabral getting ready, and I remember like I said something kind of mean to the Colorado fans, because I have nothing against Colorado. Like, I don't feel threatened by them or anything, right? So but I went in there and I said, "That's right. Bring your broken scoreboard and all your Kevin Cabrals. I mean, bring all your Cabral brothers, down to the match. We're still gonna win, or something like that." Um, and yeah, it didn't matter if it was Remy or Kevin out there. Either way, a Galaxy had him on the locks, man. Um, but yeah, what a good start for LA Galaxy on to get the playoff run. If you guys have been watching the playoffs, you guys probably saw the Vancouver match against Portland, and they Vancouver completely annihilated Portland. Completely different with the result they got tonight, but who cares? Right now we're talking about Galaxy, and then to see our guys go out there and pretty much deal the same kind of attack to Colorado is something to watch. Um, I know I'm getting a little bit of my house ahead of myself, because we're talking about how the game was such a lopsided result, but uh, that's the story going into this Sunday night about how Galaxy dominated Colorado Rapids. I just hope that this isn't like a mirage where you're looking at Galaxy beating up on a team that's obviously wounded, and then when the time comes to play against a stronger opponent, uh, things are the difficulty level hamps up so much that the team is not able to adjust well. Um,
Well,
Go ahead.
let's talk about the actual game because
Yeah.
we'll talk about it as a whole because it was just like pure dominance, right? It's hard to we don't even have to pick plays, Oh, this happened, and this happened. It was like, nah, we went in there and fucking did what we wanted, right? We'll just point out one stat, and I can't remember this ever being a stat for the Galaxy, even in their best times. Colorado, how many shots, Edgar? Shots. Edgar's muted.
Sorry about
Oh
that.
no, there you
One.
go.
One shot on goal.
No, one shot. How
Just
many
oh yeah,
shots?
just one shot. Period.
One shot. Period. How many shots on goal?
Zero.
Zero shots on goal. That's freaking nuts, right?
Yeah.
When you have such a threatening offense and Kevin Cabral, you're not gonna get any shots on target.
Really, dude? You had to go there? Oh man, yeah. Real quick, just because you mentioned it, Galaxy had total 18 shots. 11 of those on goal, I think. Where they either hit the frame or just went out to the side. But 18-1, Galaxy outshot Colorado. Um, so obviously, I'm like everybody else. I'm at the stadium, right? And um, I get a message from a fellow named Cameron Collins. He covers the Seattle Sounders, and he hits me up and he's like, um, they just said during the broadcast that at one point Colorado had a negative XG, and I'm thinking, how is that even possible? Negative XG? The computer must have been smoking at that point.
Oh my god, that I don't know. I don't know how that happens, right? I mean, that's got to be historic too, right? Negative
Yeah,
XG. What is that?
and
What did that be like? What did that be like? You're threatening your own goal. Like if you really think about it, like yeah, they're getting so close
you're
to making
right.
so many own goals, right? Because
Yeah,
you would
and
they had to work on that because zero. It would just have to be zero.
you know what's fascinating about it? Because we're talking about what a lopsided score was. Just see who Colorado has in goal, right? It's
Yes,
not just any goalkeeper. It's
but it's
Zach
an injured,
Steffen.
but it's an injured Zach Steffen, right?
It was a Zach Stefanovic.
This is Jack Stefanovic.
No, it's
Uh,
Steffen. Zach Steffen.
you're aging us. Stop. People are gonna figure out this is a wig.
Nah,
uh,
man. If you grew up in LA, you know what we're talking about.
yeah, of course. That and 80 do right.
Yeah, 82.
Nah, but I mean, yeah, Zach Steffen, but this team was feeling it, dude. There was Peck had a good look early on from outside. We were zero shots, Edgar. Zero shots. You know how much the Galaxy were feeling it? You know how much, Edgar? That
How
not
much?
only did not get a shot on goal on us, but we scored off a set piece.
Yeah. Oh, I was gonna talk about that goal because where I sit, I'm across the field from that corner, and I got a really good view of the ball as it was going as Ricky
We are
lifted it into
all
the
across
air.
the field.
No, what I'm saying, I'm in that corner of the stadium, and I could see it. Like from my vantage point, I could see the ball curving towards the box. And the moment it left Ricky's foot, I remember telling my friend, "Oh, that's a really good corner." And just the way he placed it, and Dayon, credit to him, man, because he got up on Reggie Cannon and knocked it to the far post. That was a really nice goal. And right off the bat, I was like, "Oh yeah, it's gonna be our night."
If we score off a corner, then it's definitely something's
Yeah,
going on.
obviously, but that was just wonderful service from Ricky. That was a beautiful corner kick, and oh man, I can't remember the last time we scored a goal off a corner. When was the last time that happened?
I think there must have been all of Yoshida's whenever he scored.
Yeah. So one thing that we do have to talk about, and I'm sure everybody, whether you were at the stadium or you saw on TV, you might have noticed this. The state of the pitch, it was kind of a mess, especially on the west side where there were some patches where there was like a puddle. I remember the ball ran through one and there was like water flying everywhere. Uh, some players kept getting their studs stuck in like an area of the pitch that was just muddy or moist. I don't know what you want to call it. It's kind of swampy. Um, I don't know what the heck was going on. Maybe somebody in the chat knows. Was there like a high school football game? Was there some kind of event at the dig in the week before? Because at halftime, I went to talk to Josh and I asked him maybe he knew something. I was like, "Hey, do you know anything about the state of the pitch?" He's like, "No." He goes, "Nobody really said anything except for maybe perhaps at night it gets really foggy and in that part of the city, and it's just the field stays moist and it doesn't really settle well, and it's kind of a mess." But yeah, it did affect some of the play in the first half. I don't know what you can do at that point to try to alleviate that, but it definitely was kind of a mess. And oh yeah, and Israel Barragan points out that USC did play UCLA today in women's soccer, and USC did beat UCLA in that match. So yeah, take that. Go SC baby, South
Take
Central.
that. What was I gonna say?
South
Oh,
Central
before we
baby. Let's
forget,
go.
we're dropping the ball here, Chewy. Shout out to Big Ed, aka Fat Boy on Instagram. His wifey came in and showed us some love and got him a shirt. So yeah, shout out to a fan of the show. And yeah, talk about the pitch though. I noticed it too, and there was actually I want to say on that touch line closer to the center of the field, there was like chunks of grass like out, like you could see like they have like slipping, and it
Yeah.
was like a golfer's nightmare. It was just it was not pretty, and I don't know. It makes sense if it was like a high school football game or something like that because that's typically where they set up on that side, which is kind of whack. We talk shit about Vancouver and how they didn't have their home field advantage, but yet over here our groundskeepers aren't really getting us ready for the playoffs.
Willie hears ya. Willie don't care.
Stupid. Don't touch Willie.
Right? Um, but yeah, no, it did affect the field of play, obviously, but not too bad. I mean, quality eventually does shine through, these kind of conditions, because in the second half was a whole different monster, man. Um, and I say it's a monster because the kind of beatdown the LA Galaxy gave Colorado Rapids is something that we don't see that often, at least on our side of things. I remember in 1998, LA Galaxy beat the hell out of Dallas, and I think maybe in Colorado, like scores of like 7-2 or 8-1 or something like that. But I remember the last time I saw a beatdown like this at the Dig, it was in the 2010 Western Conference Final, where everybody was really looking forward to seeing LA Galaxy um, take out FC Dallas, and FC Dallas whooped the Galaxy. I think it was like 5-1 or 5-2. I remember sitting there and watching Dallas just destroy the Galaxy, and I was just like, "Damn, what an
Fun,
asshole game!"
fun fact. I know a little history about that. So 8-1 was the score.
Yeah,
To this day, that's the highest, the most goals one team has scored
yep.
in a game, and that was the first gol olímpico in MLS history, scored by Dallas. Their one goal was a gol olímpico, so so history was made that night. One, well, it was all bad for Dallas, I guess. That's kind of funny, right? They can look back. When was the first gol olímpico scored? Oh, it was in Dallas by Dallas. Oh, sick. They lost
What was the
8-1. That's
score?
still history.
8-1. Did you guys
Yeah.
win? No.
Those are different times, Edgar. Different times, right? But it
Yeah,
felt good. Almost felt like we were back. Dare I say?
yeah. But the thing that I really liked was that every goal was a quality goal. It wasn't like some kind of cheap thing where the ball just kind of scurried over the line. It was like nice setup. But this is where you got to be careful, because as good as our boys looked on each one of those goals, you can also look at things from the other point of view, from the point of view of Colorado, that is, and you start to point fingers at midfielders who didn't come back on assignments. You start to look at a defense that should have been a lot more tighter. You start to look at the goalkeeping, especially with somebody like Zach Steffen, who at one point he was one of the better goalkeepers for the U.S. national team, and he has a certain pedigree to him, and A lot of people maybe expected him to be like Tim Howard, and it hasn't been the same. So it could be a combination of things, but in the end, LA Galaxy was out there, and man, they were having fun at one point. I know toward the end of the game, people were doing the ole, and that's always fun to do. But um, another thing that was also on my mind was, all right, you guys are up 4-0 at this point. Save some goals for the next match, and then they score another one. I was like, save some goals for the next match, damn it, because you're gonna need them. It's not aggregate. It's whoever wins 2 out of 3, and all Colorado needs is a 1-0 win, an ugly 1-0 win. It could be ugly, or maybe they tie and they go to penalties and they win,
Yeah,
and then they come back here, and all of a sudden,
that's
things could be a
that's
little bit different.
that's like the worst thing about this playoff, right? The way the format is the best 2 out of 3. It's like we scored 5, right? And I think we're gonna first off, before I say this, I think we're gonna close it out in Colorado. Okay, so but it's kind of crazy. Imagine like explaining this to like someone from Europe that's like new to MLS. They're like, oh, these are like the knockouts or whatever. And you're like, yeah, it's best 2 out of 3. You're like, oh, so they won 5-0. So that means like the next if Colorado wins like by 3 in the next game, it doesn't matter. Like, no, they could literally you tell them they could literally not score a goal in the next 2 games, 0-0, and beat us in penalties and go through. Colorado can win this series still without scoring a single goal if they keep us off the score sheet as well. Like that's I can't wrap my head around that. And then that's the one complaint I have about this game, right? And we can get into it later, but it's like or not about this game, but like the way again this format is like if you're down 3-0, right? So the 3-0 was in. Let me see here. I want to say the minutes. The
Well,
three
before
nothing
you find
happened.
that,
Well, the three
go
minute
ahead.
happened in the 54th minute, right? Fifty
Yeah.
fourth minute at home. You feel pretty good about that as a coach, right? You don't think the team is going to come back in the 54th minute. Fuck it. 75th minute. I 75th minute. I'll say for 4-0. Uh, you're in the either end. You either feel like it's over for you or you got this. So that's what sucks about this, right? What keeps a coach from being like, oh fuck it, it's a wrap, all 5 subs right now, and we'll worry about it next time. And like the opposite end was my one complaint was like with Vanny too, like let's not risk these guys, let's pull them out. I get it, you want to keep their legs, keep them match fit, but still, it's kind of these guys have already played 34 games.
You're absolutely correct. And this also, if you were at the stadium or you watched the match live and didn't just see the highlights, Colorado got really, really chippy. Uh, they started taking some really hard hits on some of our guys. There were a lot of hard fouls. I know Reggie Cannon got into it with who was, I'm trying to remember who it was, but there's a lot of shoving going on. And at one point, it seemed like the match official was gonna hand out some cards, but he was extremely patient. I don't know what was going through his mind because, excuse me. The By the way, the match official, his name is Lukasz Spaszla. He's sorry, it's Polish. It's Lukasz Spala, and he's actually been nominated for referee of the year, which is kind of interesting. And so I don't know. In his mind, he's like thinking to himself, "Oh, I gotta earn my Nobel Peace Prize over here by keeping things as peaceful as possible." But he was letting some stuff fly, and you could tell because Colorado players started to come in really hard, and you could tell. I mean, you're down by 4 goals, right? And so you're upset, right? And some people will express themselves by with some hard tackles, and Reggie Cannon was one of those guys. And I was thinking to myself, oh, somebody's end up getting red carded, and well, not really. Um, but real quick before we forget, Israel had a super chat. He asked, Israel Barragan asked, will Cabral have the game of his life in game 2? And
You,
I will defer. Thank you so much for the super chat, by the way. But I will defer to our good friend Matt Pollard, who was messaging me during the game. At halftime, he he wrote to me, "The Rapids media chat is going off on the fan base." I was like, "What?" Apparently, Abubakar was shit and needs to be subbed off at the half, or they don't trust Chris Armas anymore. So I was like, "Damn, really?"
In the middle of a
And then I
play.
asked him at the end of the game, I was like, "How's the mood between the fan base and the Rapids right now?" And he says the fan base will fully be preparing for a funeral on Friday. So there you go.
Ding. That's fucked up. Well, good thing their scoreboard doesn't really work that well, so they won't be playing our highlights.
Yeah.
By the way, Victor B on the chat brings up 8 goals Galaxy versus Dallas, June 4th, 1998. 7 goals. Seattle 7 on San Jose. September 10th, 2020. 7 goals. LA Galaxy on Colorado Rapids. May 6th, 1998. He said, crazy how old, how we hold so many crazy stats like this. That's that's an MLS. That's an MLSer fan for you, right there. Yeah, I
Well,
have like all these little random facts and and things that are not useful, but they
well,
live there.
just yeah, just real
Hey, so
quick,
the cool thing is if Colorado does win and we go to a game 3, then we're gonna have a double header. We're gonna have Galaxy on one side and professional volleyball on the court on the other court
you're
at the
kidding me.
same time.
There you
Oh
go.
my
And
goodness.
the
You
and
see,
the and there'll be
learn
more
other
participation.
stadiums. Learn other stadiums. We can handle multiple things at the same time. We've handled boxing and Galaxy events.
Yeah,
So
we
you're
can.
saying that the Vancouver Whitecaps should have had the Supercross while they're having that game against Portland at the same time?
They should have put their field in the parking lot.
There you go.
Dude, that should be. They don't have a parking lot, man. There's like it's like in the middle of a city. It's
Hey,
all
Carson is a
buildings all
city
around it.
too. Okay, we
Well,
are also in the middle of the city. We're in the heart of Carson. Okay.
that's
Yeah,
right.
there's
That's
an
right.
IKEA right there, baby. Don't you
Big Bad
forget it.
Carson.
So,
Yeah, a lot of people are asking, hey, should we go to Colorado? Hey, anytime you can go to Denver, I highly advise it. Beautiful city, beautiful vistas, especially this time of the year. It's an amazing place to visit.
Beautiful
Um,
drugs.
yeah, like you said, just a lot of things to do out there. It's not, you can go for the Rapids game and you can just hang out in the downtown area. You can go check out, all the stuff going on. And maybe they have NBA, NHL games. You
and
could go to Golden to the Coors factory. But anyway, if
make
you want to
sure,
go to
make
Denver,
sure,
go and support, man.
yeah, make sure if you go, you get some Rocky Mountain oysters.
Yeah, man.
Google it. If you're not
Yeah, man.
laughing, Google it. But anyways, get back to the game. You talked about having fun, and this team was having fun, and there was a lot of fun to be had, even for the wingbacks. That
Oh,
whole
wow.
play,
Right?
obviously we're excited about John the Rock Nelson getting his first MLS goal. And by the way, Galaxy players getting first MLS goals in not just any kind of goals, they're getting bangers, right?
Yeah.
Galaxy making dreams happen here. But anyways, Yamane did an amazing run, took on a couple of Colorado players, and played an amazing outfooted through ball. Right. It was a dime, and John Nelson looking like a striker with the cut and that upper 90 finish. Whew.
You know what's funny? We the whole season we've been talking about how John Nelson is a stay-at-home defender, right? And people were saying, well, Julian Alde, is a better option because, he's faster, he's younger, and he joins the attack. Hello, look at John Nelson's clapback, baby. What a banger, man! I mean, he put it there, upper 90 spider nuts, man.
Spider nuts. Yeah.
Right?
I I did like a double take, he had the red shoes on. I think like Dayon had red shoes too, and I'm just like, is that John Nelson? And I just look at the score.
Yeah,
And I'm like, oh shit!
Yeah, it was across the other side of the field from us, and so we saw the goal. And we're like, "What the hell? Wait, who was that?" And then you look, it's Johnny Nelson. Oh shit, Johnny! And I at that moment, I went on a media chat and I said, "Hey, St. Louis guys, thank you so much again for Johnny Nelson." And just like a few minutes later, he went on another run,
Yeah.
um, and which led to another nice goal. He fed the ball to Dayon, who immediately one timed it to Ricky, and Ricky banged it in. On it was like bang, 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 goal. And I got on the Twitter again. I was like, once again, let me just say thanks a lot for Johnny Nelson.
Oh my god. Yeah, dude, that was my, well, I don't know. I was gonna ask about favorite goals because I know they asked Vanny on his post game interview what his favorite goal was in this game, and I think they all, you have a reason to pick any of them, right? They all have good reasons why it should be your favorite goal. You have John Nelson, one, the amazing run by Yamane and the finish by John Nelson. Two, the set piece, even the set piece, because we never score set pieces, and it was a dime, from Ricky, where Dayon doesn't even have to leave the ground, pretty much. And then the third one, the quick play from the run from John Nelson, and then the quick first time ball by Dayon, and Ricky with the first time finish. Like that play was just, whew. I don't know, man. I'm getting that buzz again.
Yeah, so you see, my thing is, you expect your strikers to score. You expect Ricky to score. You expect the Dayon to score, but you don't expect Nelson to score,
No,
and to score like that. Oh,
Nah.
come on.
Yeah, I
yeah,
mean,
dude.
definitely. It looks like Dayon was taking lessons from Johnny Nelson, huh? Because Dayon was struggling earlier on, and not so much last night.
I
Uh,
think one of the things that makes that goal, I saw it right now, that makes Nelson's goal look like pretty freaking badass. Who's 14 on Colorado? Is that Cannon?
Yeah, Reggie Cannon.
That the fact that he falls when Nelson does a cut like that right there is makes it like 100 times better of a goal, because come on, it's Reggie Cannon. That still has a name behind it, and you have Johnny Nelson, which he's making a name for himself, and then bam, that happens.
I agree. Reggie Cannon is no scrub, so you gotta you gotta give that credit too. But the fun continued, dude. And yeah, at the end of the day, it was 5-0. But then you had Peck, who, well, I guess you could say for Peck, he was having a bit of an off night. MV Peck. I don't care what Spenny says in the chat. He was waiting for his opportunity. Spenny was quiet in the 20 games that Ricky was forcing stuff, but here Peck has one bad game and there he is. Anyways, no, yeah,
It,
Peck had a few misses, Joseph Paintsill had a couple too. And then we're nitpicking now, but he had that one where he tried to chip around, and he had the one-on-one where he could have played it square instead to, I think it was to Peck, and he ends up trying to shoot it with no angle. So there was more. There was still more available there for the Galaxy. At the end of the day, it wouldn't have mattered because 8-0 and you lose the penalty, the 0-0 games, the next two games, it wouldn't matter. Stupid format.
Still
yeah,
to
I
assist.
think yeah. After the fifth goal, I remember I actually did. Actually went on Twitter and I put the little meme where, I said, "Stop, stop." He's already dead. Because it felt like that. I was like, man, at this point, they're curb stomping Colorado. Save some goals for the next game. And well, going real back to the subs, I really thought, I mean, that they should have subbed out Ricky because if anybody is going to be the recipient of an errant tackle, because we saw that happen already before with him.
Mhm.
If anybody's to be the recipient of an errant tackle that might hinder him for the next match, it would be Ricky.
Yeah.
And I was surprised that they let him stay there the whole game. And but whatever, I'm not the
Yeah.
one calling the shots, right?
Let, let me ask you a question. Obviously, we're sitting here, and Vanny sits on the sideline, right? And he talked about. Did you see the post game interview by any chance?
I only saw the one with Johnny Nelson where he was talking
Okay,
about the
so
goal and everything
so
else.
so Vanny talks about a bit about the subs, and he mentions that he wants Paintsale to get his confidence right. A goal would really help.
Yeah,
So that's why he moves him as striker. I personally don't think that was a great move, right? Because it kind of set him up to fail. If you're not able to score, and then and now you're in this position where more opportunity to score, and you still don't score. I thought I personally thought this was one of the, even though he didn't score, I thought this was one of the better games that Pinto had. He looked a step slower in the last few games. He looked as confident. He was turning over a lot of balls in the last few games, and I think in this one he was opening up well, finding the space. So I think it could have been a let's save him, come off the field, and you heard, I don't know if you heard like Corner of the Galaxy or anywhere else last week that he even took an extra day off last week for to let himself recover, to let him recover more because of the injury he had dealt with previously. So, how do you feel about that move by Vanny, and one putting him on top to get his confidence, and it maybe being the opposite effect, and two, letting him play the 90 minutes when you hear that he took an extra day off last week?
Well, I'm gonna go back to what I've been telling people. I that when I go back and went back and did the research, he's been playing for 18 straight months. At some point or other, he's played like one or two, maybe three matches in a month, and he's been playing 18 months in a row. Um, Yeah, you can give him an extra day, man. You can, give him a break here and there, but in the end, those are some tired legs. And yeah, he did seem to come out with some intent. He came out there running. I know he was scrambling around with some hustle, but at some point, when you've been playing that long, you hit a wall, and that's when you start going through the motions. And the thing that sucks about when you get tired, playing a sporting event, is that you get so physically exhausted, it affects your the way you think. And I mean, that's one of the reasons you train, right? So everything comes automatic. But at some point, it looked like he was just going through the motions, and he didn't really have time to like aim and take his shots. I think that a well rested um, Joseph, but he will be able to place the ball where he wanted to, and without having to struggle so much. Right now, it seems like everything's kind of a struggle for him. Um, but maybe all he needs is just one goal, and Colorado is ripe for the picking because they're hurting right now. So maybe he can pick one up in the high altitude of Colorado on Friday night.
Yeah, I guess, but I don't feel like that answered my question too much.
Well, I
uh,
mean, I just feel like you said, you keep him out there, right? And you're like, okay, buddy, go get yours, go get yours. This game got away from Colorado. Let's, go stomp on him some more. And he did have his chances. It's just he didn't bury them. I know we were talking about how Gabriel Peck was off here and there. Peck, as we've been seeing for the last half of the season, he's the one that gets things going. So that first shot where Galaxy almost scored, it was Peck that took that shot. And there were several occasions where he just missed. He was just off by like a foot or two, or maybe he just grazed the side of the net, and you could tell that on any other given night, those go in. It's just tonight, it was just off. But in the end, it didn't matter because everyone else was doing so well that we didn't need Pack to do much. But you know what? He still contributed because he got two assists.
yeah.
So
Hey,
there you
man,
go.
having a bad night and you an off night and you still get two assists.
Yeah. And so
So
obviously it doesn't matter. I mean, he went in there and he still contributed, even though he didn't get on score sheet as far as goals. He still contributed. And what are those? What do we call those? Goal contributions, right?
hockey assists, you mean?
No. I'm just saying, just in
Oh, goal
general, goal
contributions. Yeah, yeah. It
contributions.
still adds to the stats when you add them together. It's goal
Yeah,
contributions.
he got an assist on the goal, the fourth goal, which was scored by Dayon, and he also picked up an assist on that last goal by Ricky. So there you go.
There you
Can't
go.
sleep on Pac Man.
Yeah, eat that, Spenny. That one's for you. So let's go to the last goal. You mentioned the assist by Peck. Peck. Also, he was frustrated when Dayon scored because he wanted to finish that, and he keeps his head up, and I think Ricky yells at him too because he wasn't gonna go celebrate. By the way, you know me, I'm always watching off the ball here, so I think Ricky yells at him because he kind of like is like fuck, and when everyone goes celebrate, and Ricky before he goes celebrate, he like turns towards Peck, and I think he yells at him. But anyways, yeah, he stays in the game, picks his head up, and ends up getting the assist to Ricky. And this team, dude, you have Marco Royce coming off the bench, right? We forget to mention
Yeah.
that. And if you look at this play, Royce is just that kind of player, I think, right? This is what I was excited about having him in and why. And 1.2 million, by the way, that was something we didn't cover. The salaries came out 1.2 million. That's a
Yeah.
no-brainer, right? You
No,
paid you
hey.
paid Cabral more than that, I think.
Oh, by the way, regarding the salaries, this is a quick little aside. Just seeing Zabaleta there, and I'm like, dude, you're barely above the league minimum, but you're still there. At least you can say, "Hey, I have a job." It's a
I,
hooray for nepotism.
you act like you wouldn't do it. You paid me the league. You can pay me below the league minimum just to go
Hey,
train,
pay
and
me the league minimum. I'll sit there.
you get the best seat in the house, Edgar. That's what,
Hell
and you
yeah,
get to go to the after parties.
hell yeah, man. Get to hang
Yeah,
out. You'd be in the team photo.
yeah, exactly. But anyways, what I was gonna say is, in that if you look at that play, I feel like Marco Royce makes that run, knowing that he's not gonna get the ball,
Yeah, and that's
dragging,
fine, right?
yeah,
He-
dragging defenders to open up for Ricky, and that great ball by Peck into the middle, and Ricky one touch and great finish.
Yeah, and that's and I'm really glad I didn't mention this. When we talked about the lineup, I forgot to mention it. The fact that Royce didn't start, and I was thinking, good, good. He had an awful game in Houston, and he's still probably feeling some of the ill effects of whatever was bugging him with the hamstring. Why push things, right, and
Mm.
exacerbate something, because the hamstring injuries, those can come back anytime, and it's something that if you've gotten a real bad one, it never goes away. Like me, and anytime I go for like even a walk, like a long walk, I gotta stretch out my hammies because I have an old hamstring injury in my right leg that I got when I was 18 and never went away. It always comes back. So for them to put him out there, hey, know what you got, know what you have with him, and he's gonna go out there and contribute. Don't push him. But my goodness, when he comes out there, he is so calm. He's so collected. The way he's thinking, he's in his mind. He's already thinking 3 or 4 steps ahead of everyone else. And then you see him make a pass, and then it comes to pass to everybody else, and next thing you know, you got magic on the field, and the team benefits from that. Um, what a what a great gift to us, right? Thank you, Will Kuntz.
And yeah, again, we were mentioning what a night. Will Kuntz is, I think, first acquisition as a Galaxy GM or whatever he was at that point. I believe it was John Nelson. Actually, no, I think I'm wrong. It was Cirillo in the trade. But I think John Nelson was like the second move.
Sergio had a good game last night.
Oh
That dude
yeah,
was, yeah,
absolutely. That wraps up the game. 5-0 win, smashing in the first game of the playoffs. So we were all excited. We were not let down. So with that, we can get into some awards if you're ready, Edgar.
just real quick, the mood after the game, because I went over to hang out in the supporter paddocks after the game, and if you guys go to my Twitter page, I posted a video of just everybody like just celebrating, and there's smoke bombs are going on, and there's just something different. I know we keep saying there's something different about playoff football, about the weather. Thankfully, finally, it's starting to get cold again, right?
Mm.
The weather gets a little colder. You're out there in your hoodie, and you feel that something that there's a special feeling in the air, and the excitement of winning a match. I mean, you didn't just win. It was a dominating victory that gives you so much hope for this team to continue going in the playoffs and making a deep run. Um, and it's something that we haven't felt here in a while. I know people are saying, "When was the last time Galaxy won a playoff game?" It was that game against Nashville, right? But at that point, we were just happy to be back in the playoffs. At this point, we know that this team is capable of doing something a lot more than just win one playoff game.
That's what it feels like. That's for damn sure. Dude, Edgar, you just reminded me. What did you call it? The supporter what? The supporter group what? Paddocks or something like that?
Yeah, that's what they call it, Paddocks.
You just, yeah, I don't know. You reminded me of that. Like you age yourself. The Family Guy episode of the milk of magnesia on the Davenport. On the, on
I mean, that's what you call them. That's in Jurassic Park. That's where they keep the raptors. They keep them in a paddock. So it's like yeah, that's where you keep a bunch of animals. You know, the supporters. You know, you keep them in
Whoa,
there.
whoa, 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 whoa! Hey,
That's right.
context,
All
bro.
my
Context right here. You know,
todas mis
they're gonna,
bestias out there.
they're gonna, they're gonna snip that audio right there. You're gonna find yourself in some trouble.
No, no, they're
Podcast, a
no, no.
podcast that calls fans animals.
By the way, just real quick, Eddie, I want a quick shout out to my boys in South Central. G's, hey, much love, man.
Uh,
Think,
you go from Padex to South Central people. You're just fucking up all over the place,
hey,
dude.
man, I grew up in South Central. Got to keep it real, you know.
All right, let's do some awards. I don't know if there is any negative awards here. If you want to give it a shot, any definitely no
Um,
BJ's, right?
I'll give it Gio to Paint Hill. I already explained
You think
why.
so?
Yeah, I mean, well,
Let me. You know what? The definition of the game is off, though, right? Like I
his game
think
has been
his
off for a
game,
while.
yeah, and I think this is one of his better showings.
I just felt like at one point he was trying too hard to make things happen, and like I said, when you're tired, when you're exhausted, you know you're not thinking all that clearly, and that's when you should let the game come to you. And I feel like he's just overthinking things. It happens to people who play baseball, especially when you can't get your swing right, or in basketball for some reason your stroke isn't working and you try to fix it and it gets really frustrating. So I'm sure at this point he is very frustrated. Yeah, he scored a goal not that long ago, but that was more of a tap in than anything else. Where you look at the start of the season and this guy was creating some amazing stuff, right?
Yeah,
We were so excited and we haven't seen that in a while. So hopefully the Galaxy wraps this up on Friday, and then they get that break until the next match
you
in
get a
the
month
Western
off.
Con. Yeah, right. And so we'll see how it goes, man. We'll see how it goes. Yeah, I'm hoping for that, like we said, that Colorado funeral on Friday.
Yeah, Geo Award though.
But as
I
far
don't.
as Gio,
I don't
Joseph.
know. I guess copy paste, man. I'm just gonna do that with you because I can't. I can't. I think everyone had an amazing game. It's hard for me to to give a Geo award. I don't know. How does Chewy feel? Chewy, do you think anyone deserves a Geo?
Um, no, not really. I'm leaning towards one person, but not enough games yet.
Okay, it goes to Cabral. Cabral, because he was an ex Galaxy player, so who he could do that, right?
Yeah.
All right. The Geo award to all the Colorado fans that traveled for actually believing something was gonna happen. All right, so you got Heartman. I'll take the you got Heartman first. I think it's gonna be Garces, dude. Garces is the X factor in this defense. He was the missing piece. He is the physicality and the speed we were missing. He's all the answers to that defense, right? And it's not a knock on Jalen. It's just I think in the future Jalen type pairs up with a Garces type, right? You kind of need one and one. I think Jalen is more like Yoshida and than he is Garces. Just two different style of defenders, and I think Garces is what they expected Cáceres to be at some point. So
That is a fantastic point, Eddie, that you just made right now. The fact that you said that Neo and Garces are two different types of defenders. I know a lot of people feel that at center back, uh, players, center backs are interchangeable, and but they're not. There's different styles of play. Some center backs are a lot more solid, stay back. They will crush you on a set piece, and some other center backs are more elegant in their style and they're more laid back and chill and they're more observant. Um, I know that we've all been very excited to see Jalen Neal's glow up, right? And he's still, we got to remember, he's still very young and he's still needs a lot more maturing to go. And to pair him next to Mayashita, who is a seasoned veteran, it's kind of a disservice to Jalen because you're looking at somebody who's very polished defender, and then you look at somebody who's still a diamond in the rough. But then you have also you talk about Garces. Garces is a different type of defender, and I feel at this point right now in this Galaxy's team, you need a defender like Garces alongside Yoshida, and maybe later on, maybe next year, you could have Jalen Neal come in there and, like you said, pair them together. And I think it'll be just fine. But Garces is what the Galaxy needs right now. Not to say that Galaxy couldn't benefit from Jalen Neal coming in there and doing his thing. I just feel that the state of things are right now. Garces is what we need, but Jalen is also obviously part of the future.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, I think Garces is also one of those good guys, good enough that try not to fall in love with him because I could see it. I could see,
Yeah,
I could see the
yeah,
phone ringing too, and just be like, "Fuck," He's. I
yeah.
think he's that good. That kid is. We lucked out with that kid. I mean, you remember it was supposed to be a loan originally, and then all of a sudden, like, oh fuck it, we're just gonna buy him. Which is also crazy when you think about how long they kept this kid off the field. Do you remember that, Edgar?
Right.
He
I
was already
remember.
official. He was training, and they're just like, "Why does let this fucking kid get on the field? Like, we want to see this kid, right? Like they did all these moves for him, and they wanted him here. Why is he not on the field?" And it was like if it was like a well kept secret. Like they knew like this is gonna be the missing piece.
Yeah, I mean, I remember we knew about him as far back as when Galaxy played in Vancouver, and I remember like going into that game, I was like, I wonder if we're gonna see Garces make his debut at BC Place, and it didn't happen, right? And I don't think we ended up seeing him until right before League's Cup, and it was only for like 5 minutes. I remember, 2 minutes, right? And then we're like, oh shit, we had a Garces sighting, and then he got like 25 minutes, and we're like, oh, we're seeing more of him, but I don't know. Maybe in retrospect, you could say that uh, maybe Vanny and Kalishman were trying to give Jalen an opportunity to show that maybe he did belong, in a starting lineup with somebody like Garces coming in and challenging for that spot. And as the season wore on, it just became clear that maybe Garces has something a little bit different to offer, a little bit more grit. I'm not saying that Jalen doesn't have that, isn't capable of that, but maybe just Garces came from a different place, right? A different style of football where that's the type of performance that you expect from a center back. That kind of grit, that kind of toughness, to be able to not just clap back at someone, but take the ball up the field and cause some chaos. And that's the kind of player Garces is. And um, eventually, well, he came in and he grabbed that brass ring and took it, right?
Yeah. So you heard it here first. Edgar says loan Neil to Colombia.
No.
Anyways,
Oh, poor
so that's
Neil.
my that's my Heartman award. What about you, Edgar?
Oh man. Usually I listen to you talk about your Heartman, and I'm wondering like who I'm gonna pick, but in this game there's so many to go around.
I think there's a lot of right answers and for the next award too.
Yeah, yeah. You know what? Let's give it to Dayon. We've been hard on Dayon, right? We've been pretty hard on him, and for him to come in there and not just score a really nice goal on that corner to
Mhm.
get one over Reggie Cannon, but also to pick up another one on that little off that play at the end there, um, near the end. I'm sorry. It's nice to see Dayon scoring these goals, um, because you want to, that's what you expect from your forward, from somebody who said he was going to be the future. Well, the future is here, man. Let's see what you got. And he scored a pair of goals. That's especially that first one that set the pace. And it's good to see him smiling and being happy, and hopefully we get to see more of that Dayon as the playoffs progress. But yeah, the dude has a heart, and he showed it last night. And you know what, um, Dayon, if you're watching this, stunt on these hoes, baby.
Chewy, one word answer. You got her, man. All right, good answer.
There you go.
Uh,
Good answer.
Chewy says, by the way, you mentioned the different types of defenders. You have your Neils, you have your Garceses, and then you have Savaletas, whatever the hell those are.
Oh, hey, he's on the bench, man. He's on the bench.
I'm just jealous, bro, because I want to be on a bench and get paid.
Hey, that dude gets he gets to hang out with the team. He gets a little bit of exercise during the week. He goes for a nice jog in the afternoons every day, and then he sits
you,
back and watches the
you know
match.
what? I'll give him props if he endorses my shirts. I think he's the right fit. Him and Barry.
Oh, you
uh,
know what? In the middle of the Chris Klein era, those two guys would be starters.
Oof, that's scary to think about. That's fucked up though. Those are our players, man. Why we gotta shit on them now? We're in the position we are because of
Hey,
Big Ten.
we can
They're
afford to have some fun, all right?
okay. All right, not too much fun. We left Chewy speechless over there when we asked him for the awards. So, anyways, uh, the prestigious next standing player of the match. Ah, man, so many good. You know what? I'll start it off I'll just I'll just say it, man. It's well deserved. I think it's Ricky. Ricky had a great fucking game. Ricky was all over the place. He contributed with his goals, and I think he got an assist as well. But no, you know what? No, fuck that. I'm gonna dock him because he missed that one sitter and he hit the crossbar. Never mind. Man of the match
That
is
was
John
such a
McCarthy.
weird play, dude.
John McCarthy for doing so good, not even having to make a save.
No, I think I know what you're talking about. Where like he hit the ball with his head and somehow it ended up on top of the net. That
Yeah,
was weird.
yeah. It took a second for like my brain to process what just happened. I was like, what? Yeah.
Yeah, that was a straight like bang bang, and it just like kind of like looped over the crossbar and ended up stuck in the net. Oh yeah, Israel asks, how long has there been an actual trophy for Nag standing? Eddie?
Since '96. I don't know.
Since '96. There you go.
I think this trophy was
Um,
earned this year, if I'm not mistaken.
so yeah, so that Ricky's gets your next standing.
Mhm.
Okay. Um, I gotta say it, man. For the millions
And
and
millions.
millions, John the Rock Nelson, man. This dude probably had his best game as a Galaxy player, not just for the fact that he scored a banger, but the fact that he put the lockdown on Kevin Cabral made him look like I'm sorry, a demure deer. uh, you know, poor little Kevin. Look, he looked like a deer caught in the headlights. Had no idea that the Rock was coming down the road. No, what an amazing game, and I can't believe that St. Louis just let him go like that.
No, but that's the thing. I have to. Sorry, as soon as you said it, it sparked my mind. It's like, yeah, you say that, but this is like the proof that Kuntz is the real deal because Cerillo is the exact same situation. I remember when we traded for Cerillo, and I didn't know really knew who this kid was, but the comments from Dallas fans were like, "What the fuck? Like, why? Why you guys?
Yeah,
Why? I think we gave up nothing for him, basically."
yeah, we heard the same for Fagundes, right? I mean, we've been picking up all these guys that were key players for their teams. Maybe they were guys that you didn't hear about too much because they're not the Messis or the Suarez's or whatever that don't get the headlines, but they're guys that come in and you could plug them into whatever position that they belong in and they do their job. John Nelson, man, we we've been watching him. I mean, from the start when he first came over, we had Matt Baker on here from Flyover Footy talk about him. He's talking about why he ended up on the outside looking in with St. Louis, and he said that he should be a great pickup for Galaxy. We had no idea what we had in him because when Alde went down, everybody's like, "Oh man, well, maybe Nelson will come in and get a few minutes, and they'll have some kind of platooning service in there." But no, this dude came in. He's like, "This is my spot. I'm gonna have my chance. I'm gonna take it." Bam! And he owns that spot now. Um, I've been seeing, like I said, the last home game I went to, I saw some John Nelson jerseys in the crowd. I was like, "Oh
I want
yeah!"
me a
If you're
John Nelson jersey.
dude, if you're a defender and you see somebody wearing your kit, that's pretty cool. So these are the unsung heroes, right? But today, everybody is singing his song, baby, for the millions and
Man,
millions of the Rocks fans.
the
So
most
next standing.
electrifying man in MLS entertainment. I don't know.
Real quick, Tony asks, what did we think of the tifo?
I thought it was really
Um,
cool.
yeah, that was
I
really
saw it.
cool, right? Is it
I saw
Captain Subasa?
it. I don't know where it was from. I just figured like some anime kind of thing, and I think they just captured a lot of players like really well.
Oh, it's a generational thing, my friend.
No, yeah, but
Yeah,
I think it was more centered to anime than than Super Campeones or Captain Tsubasa. But
yeah,
Yeah,
it
because
was like it was anime themed, and yes, you could link it to that because that's the only anime or cartoon that has soccer.
yeah, no, but Drew, you said that because Super Competitive is something like I can like, I remember at least, and yeah, I think Chewy's right about it's more towards the anime because like these like the faces and stuff doesn't didn't really give me Super Campeones like vibes.
well, Captain. I mean, that was an anime,
No, no,
but
I mean,
also
Right, right,
like
right.
here's
the
one of the.
animation.
That's the
Like,
thing. The way they animated the Tifo was more towards anime than like Captain Tsubasa because back in the day, those animes cartoons they were centered for Western culture, so the eyes weren't anime eyes like they are now.
damn,
That's
look
the
at you,
biggest difference.
give us a little history lesson right there.
So I watched
Um,
all that,
Yeah.
Caballeros.
I know what kind of anime you
oh,
watch, bro. It's the one we could talk about here.
Caballeros del Zodíaco. Hell yeah. Real quick, I was gonna say regarding that tifo, there was also MLS. I don't know if you guys saw this. Right before the playoffs started, MLS put out a quick little cartoon where it had anime characters on it, and like they had different players from each team. Ricky's in it, and he's like doing his drill Dragon Ball pose. Um, so if you guys haven't seen it, check it out. MLS put that out like a couple, maybe 2 3 days ago. It's really interesting.
Yeah, they did
Chewy,
that for the World Cup, no también. I think ESPN did something like that, or BR Stool Sports or whatever
oh,
the hell.
BR, probably BR Sports. But Chewy, now that I have you there,
Yo,
who's next standing for you?
next standing, um, uh, shit, it's between Garces or Nelson. Fuck,
Wow,
Garces.
wow.
I'll go with Garces
There you go. It's fair. There's a lot of good and right answers there. Right?
because it could have been Yamane too, dude. Like he was good.
Yeah.
Yeah, and this brings me to the next thing I wanted to say, and I don't think we mentioned it on the show. I know we mentioned it before. Remember that question we've asked a bunch of times about when is the last time the Galaxy played a full 90-minute game? Answer: yesterday. Right,
Yeah.
that's like the first time I remember feeling comfortable throughout the whole game, being like, "Damn, this team is just on one today. This team is playing out of their mind."
I
So
think
that's the first 90-minute game.
I,
Definitely also, huh?
I'll give you 70-minute game, dude. The first 20 were.
What do you mean? You're just talking about a zero shot the opponent.
What do you
I
mean?
mean,
Didn't the first
Peck
shot
had
come
that
in
shot
like
early on.
between the first 20? Somewhere in the first 20 was the first
Well,
shot for Colorado.
well, I mean, in those first 2 minutes, teams are feeling each other out, right? Like, what did
Hey,
you bring, right? What did you bring? And then from there, it's game over. But I was gonna say the last time I felt Galaxy had a good whistle to whistle performance was against the Pigeons, New York City. New York City just did not bring it that night, and Galaxy jumped all over them in that game. So but that was way back. I think at the start of the summer. And look at us now. This is a good time for Galaxy to be peaking. But like I said, once again, I'm just looking at Colorado and I'm thinking, is this, the fact that Galaxy is much better than Colorado, or the fact that Colorado is just like like a corpse, a walking corpse right now at this point?
But that's the thing, though, right? It's both, right? That sounds like a cop out answer, but it's the truth. It's both because you could only play whoever they put in front of you, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah,
for the first time, you just talk about like the whistle to whistle. This is the first time that I think the Galaxy did what they were supposed to do, right? You
yeah.
thought Colorado's here, they're depleted. The Galaxy should roll over this team. Should, right? How often does that happen, especially this season? It hasn't. So,
No.
but last night it was a different story. So you're asking if it's like if it's one or the other? No, it's both. And I think in this case it is a fair answer because we did what we were supposed to do.
Yeah. No. Good point.
That's right. It's a good point.
Damn, man. Chill.
So we got a couple questions. Anything as far as this game goes before I ask these next two questions?
No, I just find it funny that Israel in the comments says he owns a Dan Steres community kit. That's the wrong name to bring up, man.
Or maybe
Especially after
not.
what happened.
Maybe he put us on
The
this bracket. So
blessing in
Well,
disguise, bro. It was a blessing in disguise where we're at, where we landed.
oh yeah, once again, Eddie, though, that's a good. Just reminded me after the game. I was thinking to myself, you know what? What if all along, like I said last week, Fanny's playing 3D chess, man, and we're all just watching it and not understanding it. With our two-dimensional checkers minds, and he's there playing 3D chess.
yeah, yeah, he is. He definitely is. He knew it, dude. He knew back then. When he first came in, he got rid of Daniel Steres. And he's like, a few years down the line, after I get Klein fired, I'm gonna be in a position.
You're gonna help us.
Yeah. Victor B says, I say we still be cautious because it could have just been an off day for Colorado. I Yeah, very well could have, but I just think I don't know. Personally, I think this team is going to be demoralized, and I think the
Yeah.
Galaxy takes blood at the same time. I think this is a team that wants it. I don't think this Galaxy team is going to take a day off. I think they know now that if we just take care of business today, we don't have to worry about this for another three. We don't have to worry about anybody for another 3 weeks, and we get to stay home. So I think the Galaxy takes blood, and I wouldn't say maybe not another 5-0, but I think we're gonna look at another similar match, at least as far as dominance on the field goes.
Yeah. Real quick, Eddie, before I forget, tomorrow, Houston and Seattle kick off, and then there's also the RSL match against oh my God, Minnesota.
Mhm.
Um, what are your thoughts on the RSL versus Minnesota matchup? Because that's if Galaxy does what they're supposed to do, right, and
Mhm.
put Colorado out of their misery, it's either RSL or the Loons. So who do you think is going to come out on top?
Who do I think is gonna come out?
Yeah, and
Uh, I don't even know who the home team is. I don't want to know. I think Salt
it's
Lake's still
it's
coming out.
RSL. RSL is the home
Yeah.
team.
Yeah, I think that just because they have the game changer in and Cucho. So I think that's what's gonna put them over. I think I can see it being a close game, to be
Diego
quite honest.
Luna.
Oh yeah, Diego Luna, the Modesto ex-con looking Diego Luna.
Dude,
uh,
wow,
yeah,
man. Yeah,
but
RSL should, right? Should.
should, yeah, well, that's the key word here, right? Should. I think so though, because it's also two. I asked who the home team was, but it's also 2 games, right? Or best 2 out of 3. So yeah, it's just they have the game changer in someone that's been there. So I think that's what takes RSL over the top. And I think it's close, right? I think it's close. I wouldn't surprise if it goes to 3, but yeah, I think it's RSL at the end of the day.
Who you got between Houston and Seattle?
Oh man, that one's a little tough because I think Houston's on a high. No, it's Seattle.
Really?
Schmetzer playoffs. Yeah, I think it's Seattle.
You saw he just got an extension?
Schmetzer, damn,
Yep.
should have been the U.S. coach. I'm just kidding.
Yep.
No, yeah, I think Seattle. Seattle. I think when it comes to playoffs and someone like Schmetzer, Seattle has a lot of players that have been there as well. I wouldn't surprised that one just was actually a pretty easy route for Seattle if they wake up, right? Which would carry them on to the next round with confidence. So, but then again, I'm not. Well, I guess I'd be more comfortable with Seattle in if we make it to the conference finals because we'd be at home. But I could definitely say I don't feel like completely confident with either Seattle or Leva. So, well, I guess we'll see. But who do you got, Edgar?
Um, damn, that's a hard one. If Houston and Seattle. Uh, I want to say Seattle, just because the Schmetzer has that playoff experience, and some of those players are a little long in the tooth, and some of those guys were around when they won the Champions Cup. So I feel like they know what it takes to win a championship or go deep in tournaments like that. Um, Otherwise, so this is one of those series that's like it's like on the edge of a razor. Like you don't know, it could go one way or the other, right? It's on the razor's edge. Hey, uh,
Definitely got
so
multiple wrestling references today.
yeah, right. Ora chico. But yeah, it could be either one of them, man. I don't know if you want to talk real quick about before we get off about the East Coast. I mean the
Well,
Eastern Conference, just because.
we still got these two questions though that we've been.
Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
Oh shit! Now you made me lose it. Damn it! Thanks, Edgar. Hold on 1 second. So yeah, we have a couple questions that came in. If you have any questions, put them on the chat,
Yeah,
and we
yeah,
will.
yeah. More to them yanks.
Wait, Logan Jones. I like how Vanny didn't do Vanny ball. He finally kept the pressure on and did not hold back. I think that was Vanny ball. I think that's what he wants, and it's just the first time the team executes Vanny ball for 90 minutes.
Yeah, one thing I really love was the fact that they were on these guys. And I was telling one of my friends next to me, I was like, they got to keep it up. They can't let these guys breathe. Make it so that, like, anytime they get the ball, they have to look over the shoulder because they feel like somebody's going to be on them immediately. And, it's just, you pressure them into making mistakes. And it kind of felt like that. So hopefully they can keep that up in Colorado. Although, Victor B there on the comment says it's going to be cold in Colorado in the low 30s. So that means that Marco Royce is about to go nuclear because those Germans, man, they love that cold weather.
Adam DC 25. Here's an interesting one, Edgar. A well executed game from start to finish. Unsure if Pain Sale should start next game based on performance. I still
And
don't
if
think
it
And then it's gonna be cold, so he's
it's
not
gonna be
used to
cold,
cold.
I
yeah, if
don't.
it's gonna be cold, I don't
I
know,
say
man.
you start him, dude. I really don't. That imagine what that does to his confidence. I don't think he
No,
has.
no. You know what? Bring him in the second half. Have somebody else start. Maybe instead of having maybe bring in like Fagundes
Let me
or
ask you a question. You think the lineup we put out yesterday was the best lineup we have right now?
yeah, it's the strongest lineup I felt.
Then that's how you go out because you could end it and then you don't play for 3 weeks. Like, why would you give Colorado any kind of chance?
But the thing is that things change, and you have to look at what's been going on. Like you said, Paintsel got all that time off, right, to try to figure things out, try to get himself in the right order. Yeah, he looked like he had more pep in his step, but by the end of the day, he was still making the same mistakes, missing goals, and not being as productive as he could have been. He didn't even pick up an assist. So um, give him. You also don't want him to get hurt, right? Think about how often you pick up these stupid injuries when it gets really cold. I know there were times when I had to practice or play in games when it was really cold outside, and when somebody like misses the ball and they kick you, it hurts even worse. So I can only imagine these guys at the end of the season. All these guys, have picked up knocks and bruises, and then you take a knock in 30-degree weather. Oh, it's gonna hurt, man. So just keep Paintsel like for the second half. Bring him in. If the team is down, bring him in. Shake him real quick. I'm like, come on, girl, go in there and just throw him in, and let him go and have his moment, and that'll really lift up his spirits.
I disagree. I
That's
say you
good.
start.
It's fine.
I say so. No, I guess we'll see though. I mean, 30 degrees. I mean, could change a lot of things.
I
I
love your
like
hair.
my even romanticizing about going to Colorado completely went away right now because I do not want to be anywhere where it's 30 degrees.
Eddie, I love your hair, by the way. That's what I say.
Thanks. Maybe it's Maybelline. I don't know. Is that a thing? I don't know. I probably got that
do,
wrong.
do it again. Do that emo flip again.
I can't do it. Oh, my fucking headphone. Thanks, dude. Now I can't hear you. That was your fault. Luckily, I have a second one. But anyway, I think that's kind of brings us to the end here. I know you wanted to talk about the East real quick. So if I
Just real
heard a lot of
quick
people,
predictions.
I think. Hold on. Somebody. I think Tony. Tony brought it up to me. Who's not here, right? That was supposed to be here. Supposedly, remember that, Chewy? Tony Royale, that is.
Yeah,
Uh,
supposedly.
he asked me, or he brought up that like, oh, Miami almost lost. Like, no, they didn't. Fucking
Mm-mm.
Brad Guzan had the game of his life.
Yeah,
If you haven't seen the highlights, go watch those highlights. The only reason Messi didn't score was because of Brad Guzan. He reminded me of why he went to the Premier League, because I was never the biggest Guzan fan. I always thought like, why does this guy get to go to the Premier League? Why is he in the U.S. national team? Watch that performance he had.
yeah, yeah. Atlanta, as have you ever if you have not been following what's been going on with Atlanta, they're having an interim manager right now, and they've been going on just pure adrenaline into every single match. And he goes in and tells the guys FEA, F them all, right? And nobody believes in you guys. You know, go out there and show them, otherwise. And so Atlanta's been going in with this attitude, but I mean, you can be as you know, pumped up and gritty as you can, but you run into a team like Inter, which is the Don's, preferred team, right? That's his current play thing. Um, yeah, that's kind of like running into a bunch of lions, right? At the Coliseum, and unless you're the gladiator, Maximus, you're probably not gonna
That's
win.
that's funny that you're bringing that up, because I'm like, I've never watched Gladiator, and I'm watching it
You-
now with Sam, and we're
It's
like,
awesome.
yeah. I'm like halfway. It's just that we started it late, and I'm getting to your age, Edgar. So you know how it is. Fall asleep during movies and shit. But
Oh wow, look at that. Actually, when you're
no,
my age, you stay up late to fix everything up before you go to bed, man.
man,
But
I wish,
yeah,
I wish
real
I had
quick,
the
yeah,
energy. Yet.
that's a fantastic film. I know we're digressing here, but yeah, enjoy that movie, man. I'm not gonna say
Oh
anything
yeah.
else about
Oh,
it.
I am so far. Performances are dope by what's it, Russell Crowe and Joaquin Phoenix.
Yeah,
I hate Joaquin Phoenix. I hate his character. That's how you know.
Commodus.
Yeah, that's how you know it's good. But anyways, yeah. Uh, so East. I mean, the East we can predict as much as we want. I think at the end of the day, we're looking at a Miami in the final. I don't even think Columbus has it in them. I know it was just that a 2-1, but again, you got to watch those highlights, and you'll see that Guzan's the only reason why the score was respectable.
Yeah, it's interesting. You mentioned Columbus because the few times I've been talking to Danny from MLS Batter fans and from Battered Herons podcast, which is Inter Miami's podcast. He's been reiterating that the one team that really scares him in the East is Charlotte. And tonight we saw Charlotte just get outclassed by Orlando. I mean, Charlotte's not a bad team, but Orlando just they're just a little bit better than them tonight. And the only thing is that Charlotte's really difficult to beat at home, and that might be something that they might use in this series. Um, I don't know if Charlotte will win the 2 out of 3 though, because this first game was really important for them. Um, as far as Cincinnati, New York, I don't think either one of them can do much. Cincinnati comes in kind of wounded. The Pigeons, they come in and doing okay, but they're not even going to get a chance to play a playoff game at home. I think because the Yankees, are in the World Series, so they've been relegated to playing games at Citi Field, which is the home of the New York Mets. Uh, and then you have Columbus and the Red Bulls. The Red Bulls, please, Columbus is going to run over them. And then we might have Hell's Real in the second round. Um, and then either one of those two will probably run into Inter Miami and get crushed. So
Yeah,
sorry.
yeah. Like Tony just said in the chat right now, Galaxy versus Miami. MLS wants the Hollywood Beckham storyline.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Too bad it's gonna be not the way they want it. It's gonna be an M Night Shyamalan ending because the Galaxy wins. What a twist! Messi scores an own goal to lose the cup for for Miami.
And then Eddie wakes up. It's late February, and he looks around. He's like, "What's going on? Was it all a dream?" And he gets on MLSsoccer.com and he sees that Chris Klein's extension has extended to 5 years, and Will Kuntz is staying with LAFC. and he realizes it was all just a dream.
Zubak named captain of the team.
So Aleta's your leading scorer.
No, stop. No,
He had a
you lost
hat
me
trick, man.
there.
Anyway,
Man.
we're getting silly here. It's getting
Yeah,
late.
yeah. I think we're good. We're getting loopy because it's so late. Chuyaso, any final
Yo,
thoughts?
no, it was cool.
It was cool. You heard it here first. It was cool. Thank you everyone for tuning in with us here on this Sunday night. A great time to be an LA sports fan. Let's hope the good times keep rolling, especially for the Lakers and the Galaxy, and that's the only teams that matter, right, Edgar? Oh, the Dodgers. Sorry. I forget. It's just baseball. It's just kind of like
See
not
that
my
that's
thing.
a Laker fan mentality right there. See, no, yeah, it is. It's a great time when we see a lot of our sports teams playing, not just in the pros, but also in college sports. As far as Dodgers are concerned, if you guys haven't heard, Shohei Ohtani was actually cleared for Game 3. This is after he's like pretty much separated his shoulder. I don't know what kind of like black magic they did on him, but yeah, he's back,
Mm.
man. They had
That's what
Mr.
Guti.
Miyagi. They raised Miyagi out of the dead and have him come in there and do his little and fix him. But yeah, Otani's back. That's exciting for the Dodgers. Exciting for LA sports fans. Galaxy's heading into Dia de los Muertos. How apropos, right? On Dia de los Muertos, they're gonna go and bury, the Colorado Rapids. We think, right?
I think
I
so.
So
can't I,
so
I can't
then
really
for
imagine.
Dodger, hey, so then
What's
for Otani, it's thank you, Angels.
Yes. Oh man, have you seen the memes of people saying, right now Mike Trout is, he like, because he stayed loyal, right? And it shows Mike Trout like punching, video screens in the, at his house.
Yeah, I've seen those.
Jesus. Well, anyways, again, thank you everyone for tuning in. Thank you everyone who showed support and getting the shirts. You could hit me up. I know I ran out of sizes. Like that's how well it went. If you didn't get to get one and you still want to get one, I'll have more. Maybe, might be working on the designer too. But follow me and us on pzzl.peace peace on Instagram. We shared a lot on the nag Instagram, and if there's a particular size and you didn't get to get one and you want one whatever color, just let me know and then I'll do my best to have them ready for you at either next viewing party or the next home game, which actually will be a few weeks away. But yeah, Friday is the next time the Galaxy will play Colorado, and hopefully they can close it out then. I probably, given that's a Friday night, I'll probably be watching this at home. Yeah, again, thank you everyone for tuning in. Make sure to like, subscribe, share this wherever you can share it. I guess, yeah. My name's Eddie. You can find me on real life and follow pzzl.piecepuzzle.piece on Instagram. Edgar, where can they find you?
Yeah, you guys can find me on Twitter as Edgar Nags. Also on Instagram as Edgar Nags. There's some material I'm going to be putting up on Instagram tonight. I just haven't had a chance to today. Uh, Also, I just want to say that if anybody's wondering, working on having our good buddy Matt Pollard from Holding the High Line, and join us during the week for a preview of that match on Friday. Uh, Nothing set in stone, but it's something that him and I have been discussing. So just so you guys know, look for it, please. And as always, hey, Wu-Tang for life.
Chiasso, where can they find you?
You guys can find me as Chavez JA Chavez Ha on all my social media. It's pretty easy, pretty simple to find.
Yeah, he said the line.
He said the line.
Okay, thank you everyone for tuning in with here with the Nag Boys. Hope you enjoy the rest of your Sunday night. For now, we're gonna get up out of here and wait for Edgar Chuyaso. My name's Dominic. Till next time, keep on nagging.
Mi sucio.
Keep on nagging.